We're heading towards the Erie Express train station, and we're going to get on the Erie Express train. Once we get on the train, we'll have a little bit different view of the village.
Let's be moving on the train. Right now we are on the train and we are heading to go to Pioneer Settlement on a sneak peek preview.
Sharing with you some history, some fun facts, and the changes that are coming. And our guest conductor today is Kathy. You picked a very special day to come today. This is the first day that we're stopping the train at Pioneer Settlement. You are able to get off there. If you like, walk through the settlement. We'll pick you back up on one of our later train rides.
This building in Pioneer Village is numbered, and there's always someone in the building to explain to you the history of that particular building. This is the log house, a gift from Mr. and Mrs. Sanford Nofziger.
And they were farming he was farming with his son. And in 1861, he decided that he was going to do something rather unusual. He sold the land and the buildings to his son-in-law, Peter, and they in turn made an agreement that Barbara and Jacob could live on the land, live in this cabin for as long as they were alive, and then when they died, it would revert to Peter. Christina also could live here as long as she was unmarried. So that's why I called this a grandfather's cabin. Can you imagine them sitting and reminiscing as they grew elderly? He lived until he was 82 years old, and Barbara lived 11 years longer than he did. And it stayed, the Eicher land stayed here, stayed with the family through his granddaughter, Barbara. And then she sold them, and you'll see there's a plaque out there. That's the name, the Nofziger, that's who they sold it to.
By winter, 4 of the 5 families had built solid log homes with big round logs and a fireplace and wooden shutters and so on. But the Binders, he was very ill, and they spent the entire winter in one of those. Mom and Dad and 5 children. There is no fireplace. They just built a little fire in the middle, and the smoke kind of found its way out the cracks. And by the next spring, then they built.
Pound the nuts, and then you add water to it as you're going. You end up with nut milk, which the kids could drink, and then you can eat. This is nut butter. It's free nut butter. Now come over and see what they have. That's what you got. Europeans had killed all their beef. So they sent Dutch, Spanish, English countries, and we shipped back millions of beaver to the Europeans, to hat makers. And the hat maker would take this hide. This was a big process, but he would cut the fur from the hide and make felt out of this. So it was beaver felt hats. It was the top hats. And so that was very expensive. You see these hairs that stand up? Those are called guard hairs, and they're bad. So this hat maker has to sit here and pull out every one of those hairs. And either with tweezers or with his
So why are they bad?
because they're stiff. Then he would spread mercury all over this. Think about that. Mercury.
That's not very safe.
Then it turns it orange, and when it dries, it's very stiff. So it makes it easy for him to cut the fur of the hide. Now, there are many other steps in the process of making the felt, but one of the steps is heat. Now, when you apply heat to this fluff, mercury vapors gets into his system.
Oh, sure.
And have you heard him mad as a hatter?
Oh, yeah. They go goofy.
Yeah. They lose their ability to walk and to speak, and many of them die in mercury poisoning.
We're at an Indian village where they've got some wigwams set up, And there's going to be somebody going to be explaining some of this to us. I can tell they're getting ready. Morgan, what are you making? Is that wheat,
I have no
barley, or corn you're working on?
looks like purple corn. Purple in color.
Not very much in there.
Yeah. Wow. This looks like a place where they slept. We're ready for the tour.
That wigwam was for about 6 to 8 people in there.
6 to 8 people.
Yeah.
Woo.
See, the beds are made out of cattails, and you have a wool blanket and some deer skin. So you also have a small fire. You can see the smoke flap there. And you're cooking fire. We're actually cooking a squash here today. It's
Okay.
kind of overcooked, but it's
Kind of over. Well, charcoal squash.
Welcome to our wigwam.
you just cut it open.
One of the sleeping. I'm not sure what it's called. Log home maybe, but not sure. We'll find out. But 6 to 8 people will live in these and sleep in these. Oh look, there's somebody. There's someone that lives and sleeps in this one.
Hi.
Main Village, and we've stopped here at the Tiffin River Woods Works, and we're going to go inside here and take a look around. My sister and my niece, my sister Shanna and my niece Morgan, are already inside playing with some of the toys. This is where they make some of the toys that you see, the wood toys that you see actually over in, is it the general store? The general store, yes.
Get them warmed up. Get a hole there. Hang on good. Put your finger and put in there. Pull the string all the way out and lift the handle.
Want to try it?
There you go.
Wind it till it stays in for one round. Then it'll stay in.
Okay, Morgan. And hold it steady. Get your hand up here. Hold it steady. And then pull it, and then after it gets spinning, you lift it off.
Pull it all the way
Pull
out.
hard. Stop. Pull it faster. There you go.
As you can see, this is the Bethany United Brethren Church bell, which is here at Sauder Village. And I'll back up a bit. There you go. You can see the bell. And it says right on it too, steel alloy church bell. This church bell was used at Road C and 13, just southeast of Wauseon, Ohio. The church had a bell tower, and the bell had 2 ropes, one for ringing the bell to remind members to attend church, and another one for tolling the bell to announce that a member of the congregation had passed away. I'm telling you, it's a scorcher and it's humid out here today after the rain. So I'm going into the Yield ice cream parlor. I'm going to get something to cool off with. We're going into the pottery shop.
Love glass art, you can come to the glassmith shop, actually watch the artisans blow the glass. And I don't know if you ever knew this, but some people have said in the past, your dad wasn't a glass blower. Well, my mother used to say that to us quite often, and I never understood what that meant. Well, it meant that you weren't see-through. So when you do go to the glassmith shop and watch them blow the glass, you can actually see how they use the tubes, blow the glass, you can see through the glass, and you can watch them insert the colors into the glass at the same time. Once you're done doing that, you can go right over to the retail store and you can purchase an original piece by the glass artisans right here at Sauder Village.
Fascinated by that glass shop, and I guess we're going to be going on a buggy ride. We're getting on the buggy ride right now. My sister's sitting in the back because they don't have airbags. Okay. I will sit in the middle so I can pick on my niece, maybe pull on her hair a little bit. And there's the back end of our steam engine, or straw engine. Eric and Rob, the entrepreneurs of this actual venture. He collects the money, the one down there with the satchel in his hand, Rob, and Eric cracks the jokes. That's how that works out.
It's a little hot and it's a little steamy out today.
Yeah, we got 4 horses, so I can understand that they act up sometimes too.
You never know what a horse might do.
Mommy, after can we come and see the turkeys? Because remember that big huge one that made that puffy sound that was cool? That was cool. So, do you have some more turkeys over here?
Yeah, there's turkeys in there, the adult ones. You see the babies in there, didn't you?
Yeah. I hear them too. Oh, but found a couple of gobblers. Oh, there's one.
When the weather's warm like this, they usually stay on.
Hi, chicken.
They just stick around. See that, if you guys get back to the new area?
Yeah.
Okay. Elderberries right on pretty good.
We're in a barn basically. We're at Sauder Village, and there's some baby chickens in here, and there's a couple of calves, small calves, in here as well. Don't they look adorable? Look at that. And then we've got a little bit larger, aren't they?
And then
Set
we
of
got
chickens. This side of us we have the sheep, and they're all in the trough eating right now. It's kind of hard to see them. I'll get along the side here. You can see the sheep all in the trough there, eating away. Must be feeding time.
Hello, turkey, gobble gobble.
You can hear the rooster in the background. So here at Sauder Village, time really does slow down. It actually goes backwards if you think about it, because you're stepping into history. And a lot of what we're viewing is historic buildings and the historic village here. And then of course the Pioneer Village. And we're going to go into one of the original homesteads, which is right there. We went past that while we were on the carriage ride. This is what's called the summer kitchen, so we're going to walk inside and get a little bit of history.
This is where they cooked their meals, and it's where they did their ironing, and where they did where they prepared the vegetables and fruit for canning, and all the things that you usually would do in the kitchen. And they did this so they could keep the big house cool. They would pull the blinds completely down and shut the doors. And then in the evening, when it was time to go to bed, they would open up the doors and the windows, and it would be cool and comfortable for sleeping. And then in the fall of the year, when it began to get chilly, we would move back into the house. And the heat from the stove would help to heat the kitchen and keep it warm. And then they used this for a storage area for the things that they didn't use very often, like the butchering tools and the canning equipment, and some of the garden things, garden tools that they used and things like that. And they would be back in the big house over winter. And then when the spring came around again, they would move back out here and be ready for the heat and the coming summer.
Excuse me.
Oh, that's all right.
1910 we have it set up for, because 1910 is when they moved it from where building number 1 is at to this position and added the cellar at that time. So the lady of the house said, hey, she wanted it closer to the road and in front of the barn. So that's where she put it, right here. And they used logs to roll it to this position.
Oh, yeah.
The focal point of the kitchen is, of course, this beautiful stove. It was about $13.95 in Sears Roebuck catalog in 1902. But you can imagine how hot the house would be if she had this going in the summertime. So they used the summer kitchen instead. This is our ice box. It would take like 2 50-pound blocks of ice a week to keep everything on this side nice and cool. But your job would be to empty the pan that's at the bottom of the ice box and dump the water outside in the cat dish, the dog dish, water the flowers or the trees or the bushes. You never wasted anything. You used it until it was gone. Now this is a self-guided tour through the rest of the house.
Okay.
The parlor, the dining room first, then the parlor, then the parents' bedroom, and the girls' bedroom. If you have any questions, let me know.
Thank you.
And then you can go down the cellar steps if you wish to see the cellar. There's a lot of canned food down there and a lady down there to talk to you.
Okay.
And we're in the parlor right now. It's quite dark in here right now. The shades would be drawn during the hottest part of the day, is what we found out. This is one of the bedrooms.
Parents, in fact.
What's wrong with that square?
Thank you. Isn't there upstairs too, but it must be closed off.
My house is up there.
We're down in the cellar now of the house, which was built for the house when they moved it. We look at this, we have somebody down in the cellar to give us more information.
It's true.
What happened here?
Well, this is where Mom would have done a lot of her work. As you can see, we have a lot of canning. And then back here in the corner, we have a cheese press. Over here is the cheese press. And we have a soap press where they would have made their lye soap. Laundry would have also been done here. As you can see, we were doing some earlier, but not anymore. But you would just stick some clothes up underneath here, fill this with water, and then stick some clothes, maybe some socks or a shirt, lift it up to put them in, and then back and forth, back and forth. And so you would have done that down here. And one of the most interesting things about down here, though, is over here against the wall. This is the Delco power plant, and it's basically a battery system. And there was electricity at this time period, but this was a rural area, so there wouldn't have been electricity to the homes out in the country. So if you had the money and wanted electricity in your house, you could purchase a system like this. And basically, it was run on kerosene, and it would run for a few hours during the day, 3 or 4 hours to generate power, and then at night you could turn it on and have lights in your house.
How amazing. I didn't know anything about this. That's quite interesting.
Do you make soap? Do you guys make your soap?
Yep, they make the soap over here. There's a soap press. That's lye soap. And they would have used it for their laundry. They would shave it up for their laundry and use it as a detergent. They'd use it to wash themselves, wash their dishes, pretty much everything.
And wash your mouth out if you said bad words.
Yeah, I don't know about that. It's pretty nasty.
Well, that was the whole
reason behind. I think when it's in this state, it's not
as toxic.
Diluted enough, yeah.
Wow. Okay. So, but this was built when they moved the house, is what happened, so she could have the cellar, right? And then what was stored in these barrels?
Cider or vinegar.
Okay.
Alcohol, perhaps.
Okay.
And then here is the fruit and vegetable cellar, and it would have been about 40 or 50 to 60 degrees. And they would put potatoes, apples, a lot of produce and things in there year-round to keep things cool.
This is the spring house here at Sauder Village, and It's kind of dark in here, but I will explain to you what's inside. There's some jugs in here, an old container for creamed lard, and there's obviously a churning container as well as milk containers, as you can see, and various other buckets and pails and large earthenware. Now the spring house, before the invention of the icebox, the spring house was a storage place for all those things which must be kept cool, and this was one of the places they kept it cool, in a big box like this. And afterward, it was the place where all items that were too large for the icebox, such as butter and cheese, and were often made in the spring house, and all of the tools used for making them were stored in this room. So this is the spring house. A very small place, but definitely had a function. And we're going to head back out, and we're done.